Hey Loopers, Melissa here with LovableLoops.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a candy corn dress in size 2T. You're going to need worsted weight yarn in white, yellow, and orange, and a I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move my yellow and my orange. We're going to begin with our white yarn, and we are going to be working from the top down. So for size 2, you're going to go ahead and chain 56. If you want to make a larger size, but you still want to follow along to this tutorial, you can hop over to my blog. The link is below. I also have the pattern written for sizes 4, 6, and 8. Okay, let's begin. Go ahead and chain 56. Okay, that's 56, and now I'm going to add 2 more. 1, 2 for a total of 58, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double crochet all the way across, and my first double crochet is going to go into that 3rd chain from the hook. Let's go ahead and do that. So those 2 additional chains count as the turning chain there. Okay, and then you're just going to go ahead and double crochet once in each chain. So you'll end up with a chain with 56, double crochet. Okay, so now I have my 56 double crochet, and I am not going to be joining in the round. What we are going to do is we are going to continue working back and forth, and we will end up putting buttons down the back to make it to give it a little bit more room for so you don't have to force it over the baby or the kid's head. Okay, so the buttons will allow a little extra room for that. So we'll be working back and forth. So now for row 2, you're going to begin by chaining 2, and your chain 2 will never count as your first double crochet. Okay, now you're going to follow the pattern of 2 double crochet in the first stitch, double crochet in 1. So my first stitch here, I'm going to make 2 double crochet. Okay, and again, that turning chain did not count. I have my turning chain and my 2 double crochet, and now I'm going to make 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so 2, 1. So you're going to repeat that. In the next stitch, you're going to make 2 double crochet, 1, 2. In your next stitch, you're going to make 1 double crochet and repeat. 2 double crochet, and 1 double crochet. Okay, and you're just going to repeat that pattern all the way across, and at the end of row 2 you will have 84 stitches. Okay, at the end of row 2 you'll have 84 stitches. You're going to go ahead and chain 2, and now for row 3 you're going to follow the pattern of making 2 double crochet and then double crocheting once in the next 13 stitches. Okay, so I have my 2 double crochet here, So now in the next 13 stitches, I'm just going to make 1 double crochet, and you'll repeat that all the way across your row. At the end of row 3, you will have 90 stitches. Okay, so at the end of your first row, you had 56 stitches. At the end of row 2, you have 84 stitches, and then at the end of this row, which is row 3, you will have 90 stitches. Okay, so again, at the end of row 3, you will have 90 stitches. Now for row 4, go ahead and chain 2 and turn. You're going to make 2 double crochet in that first stitch. And then you're going to double crochet in 14. And your pattern for row 4 is 2 double crochet in a stitch, and then in the next 14 stitches you're just going to double crochet, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way across. You'll end up repeating it 5 times, so you'll do it a total of 6 times, which means you're increasing this row by 6. So at the end of row 4, you will have 96 stitches. So again, 2 double crochet followed by 14 double crochet, and then repeat 2 double crochet and then double crochet in 14. Okay, so after row 4, you will have 96 stitches. Now for row 5, you're going to chain 2, and you're going to make 2 double crochet in that first stitch. 1, 2, and now you are going to make 1 double crochet in the next 15 stitches. Okay, and once again, you'll repeat that pattern all the way across. Make 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then in the following 15 stitches, you'll make 1 double crochet. You'll end up doing that pattern a total of 6 times, which means you'll increase this row by 6 stitches. So at the end of row 5, you will have 102 stitches. Okay, at the end of at the end of row 5, you'll have 102 stitches. For row 6, you're going to chain 2 and turn. And then now the pattern for row 6 is you're going to make 2 double crochet followed by 16 double crochet. So you'll make 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then in the following 16 stitches, you'll just make 1 double crochet. Okay, so again, that pattern is 2 double crochet followed by 16 double crochet. Okay, so you can see your 2 double crochet, of course, go in the same stitch. That's an increase. And then you just, in the next 16 stitches, you just double crochet once, and then you repeat that pattern. You'll end up making the pattern a total of 6 times, which means 6 increases, which means that at the end of row 6, you will have 108 stitches. Okay, so now at the end of row 6, you have 108 stitches. So now for row 7, chain 2 and turn. And the pattern this time is 2 double crochet and then double crochet in 17. So you'll make 2 double crochet, and then you'll double crochet in the next 17. Repeat that pattern. At the end of row 7, you will have 114 stitches. Okay, so after row 7, you'll have 114 stitches. Now for row 8, you're going to chain 2 and turn, and your pattern is going to be 2 double crochet, and then you will double crochet in 18, and you'll repeat that for the remainder of the row. You'll end up doing that again 6 times. Like every other row, your pattern will be repeated 6 times, which means that you're increasing each row again by 6. So at the end of row 8, you will have 120 stitches. Okay, so at the end of round 8, you'll have 120 stitches. Now for round 9, you're going to chain 2. Okay, turn your work, and now your pattern is going to be 2 double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet in 19 stitches, okay? So you have your 2 double crochet, and then you'll double crochet in 19 stitches, and you'll repeat that pattern. And at the end of round 9, you will have 126 stitches. Okay, at the end of round 9, you'll have 126 stitches. Now for round 10, chain 2, 2 double crochet in that first stitch, and then you're going to double crochet in 20 stitches. And you'll just repeat that pattern for the remainder of the row. And at the end of row 10, you'll have 132 stitches. Okay, at the end of row 10, you have 132 stitches. Now for row 11, chain 2, turn your work. You're going to double crochet in 2 stitches. And then you are going to double crochet in the next 21 stitches and repeat that pattern. At the end of row 11, you will have 138 stitches. Okay, after row 11, you'll have 138 stitches. And now we are going to do the last row. Row 12 is the last row before we make our armholes, okay? So you're going to go ahead and chain 2, turn your work. And then the pattern is going to be 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then you're going to double crochet in the next 22 stitches. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and repeat that pattern for the remainder of the row, and after row 12 you will have 144 stitches. Okay, so at the end of row 12, you will have 144 stitches. You can go ahead and cut your yarn. We are done with the white yarn now. And now for row 13, this is when we're going to make our armholes, and we will begin crocheting in the round. Okay, so this is going to be the back of the top of the dress. So this part we will add buttons to later. So there will be enough give here to pull this over your head, okay? All right, so here's what you're gonna do. With 144 stitches, there are 32 for each armhole, and then 40 for the front, and 40 for the back, so 20 and 20. So you're gonna wanna use some locking stitch markers. So pick one of your sides, count in 20, and then on the next stitch, because you're not going to be crocheting on the armhole, so we're going to put the locking stitch markers on the armhole stitches. So on the 21st stitch, mark that stitch, and then counting that stitch like this, so 2, 4, 6, 8, you're going to count all the way over till you get to 32. Put a locking stitch marker on that stitch. And then start counting again, beginning with the next stitch. This is your armhole here. With the next stitch from here over, you're going to count 40. On the 41st stitch, put a locking stitch marker, and then count over 32. Make sure you count that first stitch as the stitch with the stitch marker, because that is included for the armhole. And then when you get to 32, put a stitch marker on that stitch, and you should have 20 stitches remaining. Okay? All right, so now we are going to begin crocheting, and I am going to start over here on this side, And I'm going to go obviously in this direction, and then when we get to the end over here, we'll be able to join them. And we are switching to our orange yarn. Okay, so go ahead and find that first stitch there and join your orange yarn. Chain 2. Okay, and then you're just going to crochet once in each stitch. I already did the calculation so that you would end up with enough stitches to fit the circumference of the chest size for a 2-year-old for this pattern, and then I've also done the math for the larger sizes. Okay, so you're just making 1 double crochet in each stitch until you get to that stitch marker. My yarn got caught. Okay, now our next stitch has a stitch marker on it, so that means it's part of the armhole, okay? So what you're going to do is you are just going to prepare your yarn like you're going to double crochet, and then you're going to find that next stitch marker, so skip this one, find the next one, and in the stitch directly after the stitch marker, you're going to make a double crochet. Okay, and in doing that, you have left these stitches unworked, which will create the armhole. And then just continue. So this stitch right here was the first one for the front. So you have 39 more to go. So go ahead and double crochet in those remaining stitches until you get to the next stitch marker, which is the beginning of our second armhole. Okay, so now I have crocheted all the way across what will be the front of the dress. I'm at my next stitch marker, which is the beginning of the next armhole. So now I'm going to double crochet into the stitch that comes after, and make sure that you're turning your sleeve the same way. You don't want to do this, although I don't even think you could. Just go ahead and close it like this to the right, facing the right, and double crochet in that next stitch. And then you're just going to double crochet in the remaining 19 stitches after that. Okay, so you have your second sleeve now here is made. And now you'll just crochet in these remaining stitches, and then we will join to the top of this double crochet here. So go ahead and join to the top of your first double crochet. So you're joining in the round. So now we will continue working in the round. Okay. So when you join, you're just making a slip stitch just like that, and you'll be able to use your yarn tail there to make that look a little prettier. And again, we will be putting button closures at the top of the dress, okay? All right, so what we just did was round 13. So I've done the math to make this the length of the torso to the waist for the upper body here to be the correct amount for a 2-year-old for this pattern. And of course, I've done the math for the larger sizes as well. So what you're going to want to do for the size 2 now is to continue crocheting in the round until you reach round 20 or through round 20. So this was round 13. So for rounds 14 through 20, at the beginning of each round, you're going to chain 2 and you're going to put 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around, okay? So you're not doing anything with those armholes. So in each of those orange stitches, you're going to make 1 double crochet in each, and when you get back to the beginning over here, you're going to slip stitch, so join to the top of that first double crochet right there with a slip stitch, okay? And then remember here, you have 1 double crochet here and 1 double crochet there, okay? So actually this is the, that what looks like a chain, that's not a chain, that is the loop for this stitch. So make sure you work into that stitch as well. That is one of your double crochets right there. Okay, so you can see on the other side, looks like this one. It's just as loose as the other one. Make sure you work into that. That is the loop from this double crochet here, okay? All right, and if you aren't sure, if you're not sure about how that works, count your stitches afterwards. You should have a total of 80 stitches at the end of each round, okay? And I'll meet you back up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue crocheting off camera since I'm just crocheting in the round, and I will meet back up with you after round 20. Okay, so I just completed my dress through round 20. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is what it looks like from the front. Okay, now we are going to begin the waist part of the dress, and what we're going to do is we are going to attach our yellow yarn. Now, I want the bottom of the dress to go out a little bit, but not too much. Since the shape of a candy corn just goes out gradually and not too extreme, I'm just going to increase this every other stitch. So what you're going to do is attach your yellow yarn and chain 2. And then in my first stitch here, the same one that I joined to, I'm going to make 2 double crochet. Yeah, that's correct. Sorry, that looked a little odd to me. Okay, so make 2 double crochet in your first stitch, and in your second stitch, you're going to make 1 double crochet. And that's your pattern. 2, 1, 2, 1. So all the way around, you're going to repeat the pattern of 2 double crochet in one stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next. And then again, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet afterwards. And if this is 80 stitches, we're increasing by 40. So at the end of round 21, at the end of round 21, you'll have 120 stitches. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way around. When you get to the end, you'll just join with a slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet. Okay, so keep up that pattern, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 21. Okay, so we just completed round 21, and now what we're going to do is we are going to continue double crocheting in rounds For the next, well, so for rounds 22 through 47, okay? And then after that, we'll make a scallop trim. So for rounds 22 through 47, for each round, you are simply going to chain 2, and you're going to double crochet once in each stitch. So for each round, at the end of each round, you'll have 120 stitches. You're not doing any more increases. You're just going to double crochet around. When you get to the end, you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet, and we will meet back up after round 47. For round 48, I will show you how to make a scallop trim. I think that will give the dress a really nice, cute finish. All right, I'll see you then. Okay, so now we have completed our yellow rows through row 47. Okay, so you can see here, I completed through row 47, and now what we're going to do is make a scallop trim for the bottom of the dress. So what you do is go ahead and yarn over and skip that first stitch that you joined to, and in the next stitch you're going to make 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now skip this next stitch, and in the stitch after that you're going to slip stitch. You're going to join to that stitch with a slip stitch, just like you've done at the end of every round. Okay, and then yarn over, skip the next stitch after the stitch that you slip stitched to. So this is the stitch that you joined to. Skip the next one, and in the one after that, you're going to make 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that, go ahead and join with a slip stitch. Skip the next stitch, and in the stitch after that, you're going to make 4 double crochet. So the pattern here is in one stitch, you make 4 double crochet, then you skip the next stitch, join to the stitch after that, skip the next stitch, and make 4 double crochet again. And you're going to do that all the way around. So if I move the back of the dress against the white background, you can see here that this is creating a scallop trim. So skip that stitch there. In this next stitch, you're going to join. So this is the stitch I joined to, so skip this next one, and in this next stitch after that, you're going to make 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip that next stitch, join to the stitch after, skip that next stitch, make 4 double crochet in the stitch after that. Skip the next stitch, join to the stitch after, skip the next stitch, make 4 double crochet in the stitch after. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around for the trim of the dress. Now, if you don't like how the scallop trim looks, that's okay. Then you can just simply single crochet all the way around, okay? I don't like just leaving double crochet at the bottom of the dress. I like giving it some sort of finish. So if you don't want to do the scallop trim, then go ahead and just do 1 round of single crochet. Okay, so go ahead and finish your trim for the hem of your dress, and we'll meet back up afterwards. Okay, so now that you're done with the trim for the dress, we can go ahead and finish the top of the dress. We're going to single crochet to give this, the back of the dress here, a more finished edge. So we'll single crochet up this side, around the collar and then back down the other side, and then we will attach our buttons, okay? So you'll also need 3 buttons, and we'll add those when we're done single crocheting around, because this part of the dress is open and we want to be able to close that, okay? So for the buttons, you're also going to need to have a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook when we're attaching those. I'm going to use that to make the loops, but for the single crocheting around the edge, we're going to continue to use our 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So you're just going to attach your yarn here at the bottom, and I suppose you could use like an accent color, maybe if you wanted to go around in yellow. I'm going to continue with white just because I like the distinct look of the white, orange, and then the yellow. Also to note, if you want to make a scallop trim around the sleeves, you could do that as well. I actually like how it is like pretty smooth like this, so I'm going to leave mine like this and just have the scallop trim at the bottom of the dress. But that's another option for you. Okay, so I'm going to attach my white yarn here. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to just single crochet all the way around. So I'm going up this side. Okay, and you can see that's a much nicer finished look here than on the other side. Okay, when you get to the top, chain 1, and that will help turn your work. And then what I'm going to do, because this is where we had our initial chain, I'm going to make my single crochets between each stitch. I'm going to go between them. Okay. And go ahead and do that all the way around. Make sure you're not pulling that too tight. Okay, turn my dress a bit here. Okay, and again chain 1 to go around that turn here. Okay, and now you're just going to crochet down the side, the other side. Okay. All right. Okay, so you can go ahead and cut that yarn, weave in those ends, and then we'll go ahead and add our buttons. Okay, so now time to do the buttons, and then we are done. So I have these 3 buttons here. As you can see, they are 1/2 inch buttons. Okay, and I've already threaded them with some yarn. Now, this is kind of hard to do. I did this off camera because it does take a few minutes, but what I do is I will hold the yarn and push it through to the other side with a tapestry needle, and then I will use a pair of scissors and I will grab the yarn from the other side and pull it through. Okay, so it's not the easiest thing to do, but it can be done. Now, because of the size of the buttons, they will fit between those double crochet that were made. So all we need to do is attach them to this part of the dress, to the right hand side, and then we can pull the left side over to close it. And because we made that single crochet trim all the way around, we have a little bit of extra room to work with, so it does overlap a little bit here. Okay, so determine where you want those buttons to go. I'm going to, let's see here, I'm going to put one there. Maybe a little further up here, and then down here at the bottom. So you're going to use your tapestry needles. Okay, and then you are going to, see the double crochets here? You're going to put the 2 pieces of yarn, thread 1 on each side of that double crochet. Okay, so this side of the yarn will go through that side, and this end of the yarn will go through the other side. Okay, I'm just going to pull those through. Okay, so now you have your button there, and then on the other side you're just going to tie it. I like to double and triple knot things. Tie it, and you'll weave in those ends, and I'll show you again here. This can be buttoned right between your double crochet. Fits right around, just like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the next one. So let's see here, put this one, I'm thinking maybe here and then there. Okay, and again, you're going to put them around the double crochet. Before tying, I would suggest you make sure you like the placement of the button by checking it and making sure that you're happy with where it is, because once you tie it off, it's really hard to untie. And I guess you could always just cut the yarn, but then you have to rethread it and it just makes more work for yourself. So here we go. Go ahead and close that button. Okay, and now we need one more, and I'm going to place that one up here at the top. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. I'm thinking this one will go right here. Okay, so again, putting these tapestry needles right around that double crochet there. Pull your yarn through, check the placement of the button, and then if you're happy with it, you can tie it off. And I think that'll look really cute there, so I'm going to go ahead and tie that. Okay. Close that button, or button it. There we go. All right, and then all you need to do is go on the inside there and weave in those ends, and there you have it. So here is the back of your candy corn dress, and here is the front. And I think it looks adorable. I am very happy with how this turned out. So I hope you like this pattern as well. I have the link below to the pattern on my blog where the sizes 2, 4, 6, and 8 are available. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.